Hello and welcome to the Healing Power of Dreams. I'm Kathy Pagano. Before I talk about dreams, I'd like to tell you a little bit about how I work, so you understand why I feel dreams are so important. I am a Jungian psychotherapist and a coach. I call my form of coaching wisdom coaching because I feel as if the most important value, okay, and talent that we can access right now is our wisdom so that we learn how to live a fulfilled life and we do it in a wise and yet practical way. I'm a Jungian psychologist, which means that I studied the psychology of Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, who was one of the first psychologists to talk about the level of soul. And he saw soul as feminine, as those feminine qualities of emotional intelligence and intuition and the imagination, which was so much, which had been so rejected by our culture, which is so left brain and so rational. And so, slowly but surely, through the years, since his death in the 60s, we've begun to access a lot of those feminine qualities. And I think he was one of the major pioneers that helped us to understand it. So many of the new age modalities now of healing really are based on his work because he's the one who brought us the idea of archetypes and of the shadow, of the anima and the animus. He studied alchemy and he studied astrology, and he used astrology with all of his clients. And so do I. The feminine brain, which is what he accessed in the unconscious, is the voice of our imagination. I work on that level of the imagination because imagination is the place where we can change our beliefs and we can manifest our intentions. And with astrology, I show my clients how they use the archetypal energies of life, which, because the planets change minute by minute, are different for each of us. And thank goodness that we're all not the same, right? With wisdom coaching, what I do is I help my clients bring um, their soul online so that they're living a soulful life and one that will lead them to their destiny. But it's through dreams and shamanic journeying, or what Jungians call active imagination, that I believe we really discover how we work with our everyday energies and how we can change those energies and therefore change our story. I've always been telling my clients for years, you have to change your story. But of course, to change our story, we have to change our beliefs. So, with these tools of the imagination, I know that you can change your life at the deepest levels. Therefore, you could say I'm a guide for souls because what I do is I help you access and deepen your spirituality. Help you open to your soul's voice and story, and I help you to manifest that story in your life, in the outer world. And the most precious way to access your imagination is through exploring the meaning of your dreams. So we're going to get out of our 3D reality for a minute and we're going to meditate a bit and we're going to do it through breathing. And so I'm going to call in the 4 directions and the 5 directions. And we're going to do it through breath, which of course changes our level of consciousness. So if you will, close your eyes and take 3 deep cleansing breaths and let them out with a sigh. And just release all your tensions. Release any of your day. Release your week. Release the last 2 years if you can. And now we're going to go into our breath meditation. So we're going to call on the East, which is the power of the dawn, of the air, of the winds, and of our thinking. And we're going to do it through breath. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to breathe in through our mouth and out through our mouth, as if you're breathing in through a straw and out through a straw. So breathe in through a straw and breathe out through a straw. Breathe in and out. And with this breath, let your mind clear up. And one more breath. Breathe in through a straw and breathe out through a straw. Now we're going to call on the powers of the South, the powers of fire, of passion and life and creativity. And the way we do this is we breathe in through a straw and out through our nose. And so breathe in through your mouth and out through your nose, and in through your mouth and out through your nose. And you might begin to feel as if there's energy building up in your heart. And a fourth breath in through your mouth and out through your nose. And now we'll call on the powers of the West, the powers of water and of feelings and of healing and of dreams. And we do this by breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. So don't forget to purse your lips like you're doing it with a straw. So in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And isn't it a calming breath? You calm right down. And a fourth one, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now let us call on the powers of the north, of the earth, of our security and our grounding. And we do this by breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. So we breathe in through our nose and out through our nose. And in through your nose and out through your nose. Don't you feel grounded? Doesn't it make you feel solid? And one more breath in through your nose and out through your nose. And now let us bring in the fifth element, which is soul, which is your own unique self. And by that, we're going to breathe in all through our skin, as if every part of you is breathing in. And then we're going to breathe out from our heart, right back out through our skins. So whichever way, through your nose, through your mouth, whatever's most comfortable for you. So breathe in through your skin and out through your skin. And in through your skin and out through your skin. And in through your skin and out through your skin. Welcome. So now we're in the dream space. So I'm so glad you're interested in learning about your dreams. Who is a dreamer out there? I see lots of hands being raised and some not. But I want to let you know for sure that all of us dream. Everyone dreams every night, even if we don't remember them. As a matter of fact, if you don't sleep for a number of days, you'll start hallucinating because the right brain dream world wants to come through. It's an intrinsic part of life, not only for humans, but all of nature. Animals and plants dream too. Dreams are mysterious, aren't they? I wonder why we dream. You know, what's their purpose? Scientists would have us believe that it's just electrodes sparking in our brain to release excess energy. But now they're even beginning to feel that no, maybe that's not true. The reason we don't understand our dreams is that they come through us through the imaginative right brain, and they come to us in symbolic language. And we've lost our ability to understand symbolic language. But they still exert power over us, even as they did in ancient societies and in religions. Except now it's our corporation and our media that use them to sell us things. Okay? Have you ever wondered why so many things that we buy are named after archetypal, mythical beings? We have Saturns and we have Mercuries and we have Subarus, which means the Pleiades in Japanese. And we have Nike shoes and Venus shaving, razors. They use these ancient archetypes to seduce us because we've lost touch with our own imaginations. That's why movies have such a big impact on us. They come in and they fill our psyches with images that affect us. So how do we reclaim our own imagination? And we do it by using it. So the imaginal language is the language of our souls, as well as the language that connects us to the rest of nature. Whether we do shamanic journeying or have a psychic read for us, or if we dream, we are accessing knowledge through the imagination. And since you're the best person to understand these symbolic stories that are and what they're saying to you about your life, why do we keep asking other people to read us, to tell us what's going on in our own soul, when our soul is sending us messages every night that we just need to learn to decipher? Dreams are so important for our life. We say that we have dreams about what we want to do in the future, but it's our night dreams that offer us a picture of how we're experiencing life. And in all cultures and in all times except ours, they have valued dreams. We have the Aborigines who can still travel in dream time. The Native Americans always worked with their dreams. One of their greatest shamans, Black Elk, he had a dream that he shared with his tribe, a dream of how to stay powerful as the white man came in and took over their lands. And the whole tribe acted it out because dreams want to be related to. So whether you, the first step, of course, is interpreting it, but then you might draw it or you might write a poem about it. But dreams want to be expressed. And the more that we bring dreams into the outer world, the more that they can become reality. So ancient cultures, religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they all have dreams in their sacred books. We have Joseph, who interprets the Pharaoh's dreams. We have Peter having a dream about who he should share the religion of Christ with. We have Muhammad going to the sacred mountain with the angel in a dream. And yet, today, most of us ignore our dreams. And I think that's because we forget that we're souls. And as we're beginning to remember that we are souls and that our souls want us to connect to them and that we're more than just the outer world that we live in, the more that dreams become important. Because dreams are the expression of our inner being, which can help us understand our longing for wholeness. And isn't that what we all want to do? We want to be whole. So, some of Jung's theories are interesting and they've gotten into the culture. We have the idea of the shadow. A lot of people do shadow work. And that's about how do we access the part of ourselves that we don't know, that is in shadow. And usually our shadows form when we're quite young to protect ourselves. And as we get older, they just become unconscious behavior patterns. One of the ways that we can learn about our shadows is um, is when there's a person in your life you don't like, and because usually they have a hook for some of your shadow qualities. One of the examples I love to give is my mother, who I hope she doesn't mind, but I'm going to use her as an example. My mother is quite opinionated and she makes a lot of judgments and she loves to tell us what to do. And one of her best friends does the same thing. But my mother doesn't recognize that's her shadow. What she does is she says about the other lady, she thinks she knows everything. And it's like the pot calling the kettle black. She doesn't understand that that is her shadow. And what's wrong with the shadow? Well, it's an unconscious behavior pattern. And if we don't like the way we act, because when we don't like another person, it's telling us something about, we don't like something about ourselves. If we explore it and look at it, we can change our behavior. And so shadow figures show up in our dream, not only as shadowy figures, but as some of our friends, some unknown people that show up. And so through dreams, we can connect with the shadow and transform it into gold, into energy that we can use for new ways of being. We have archetypes within us. All of us have the archetype of the mother and the father because we all share what mothers and fathers do. If you have a negative mother complex, which most of us in our culture seem to do, we don't feel worthy. We don't feel lovable. We have low self-worth and low self-esteem. And through dreams, we can start to untangle that energy around that until finally we say, yes, I am good. I am lovable. I know what I'm doing. The father complex is about how we go into the world. Did our father provide a bridge for us, or do we have a negative father complex, which says, I don't know how to get into the world. I don't know how to bring my truest self into the world. And so we can have dreams about that too. And we untangle the energy that's centered around that so we find a new relationship to how we are in terms of the world. There are many other motifs, and Jung used a lot of them, but we don't have to go into that right now. The one thing that you need to know about dreams is you in the dream is your ego. And so it's your ego attitude. And all the rest of your dreams are parts of yourself and energy. And so the dream shows you how the ego is relating to the rest of your life. And sometimes it relates in a really good way, and sometimes not so good. And so working on your dreams and trying to figure out what they mean help you to get a different attitude about what your beliefs are and how you might change them. So let's talk about a few dream motifs because we all share dream motifs. Um, One of the dream motifs, first of all, we have recurring dreams. Everybody seems to have recurring dreams. And it seems as if a recurring dream is something that we just keep having to work on, and it's very hard for us to access. Just the other day, a young high school woman called me up to ask me if I would help her with a paper she was writing on nightmares. And this was her nightmare, that she was in a house, a big house, and there were lots of rooms, and they were all white. And she was running through them, and people in black were sort of chasing her. And even though they never caught her and didn't do anything that was hurtful, she was scared and she'd wake up terrified. So we talked a little bit about it. And houses in dreams represent our psyche, how we look at the world. So when you dream about your childhood home, and part of this bigger house was like her childhood home, it represents the way we saw the world through the child's eyes, through our parents' eyes, and how we experienced our parents and the world. If we dream about a house that's broken down, it might be that we're experiencing life as if we're poor and we don't have the resources we need. But often, a lot of us dream about houses with so many more rooms. We're always discovering new rooms in them. And those rooms are meant to be filled up with our talents and our gifts. So you might find pianos in one room and crafts in another, and libraries, or two or three kitchens because we're really cooking with things. And so it's saying to us, there is more to us than we know. And so when this young girl heard that, she said, "Oh, how interesting." And then we talked about the people in black who were following her. Now, black is not an evil color. Black represents great mystery. It has all the colors in it. It absorbs all the colors. And of course, we have black holes and we have black matter, and that's where the juice is. That's the mystery. And so these two figures that were following her and chasing her were trying to get her to see what a big psyche she has, how much more she can put in it, how much more she has the ability to understand life from many different perspectives. And so after we talked about the dream, she went, "Oh, that is so great." And that's when you know that you have the right interpretation of the dream, when you go, "Ah, yes, that feels good, that feels right." So that's a recurring dream. Many of us have recurring dreams. My son Gregory, when he was younger, had a recurring dream that was also a lucid dream. Lucid dreams are when we wake up in the dream and we know we're dreaming. And he used to dream that he was in the ocean swimming and sharks would come. And he would be afraid. But then he would say, "Oh, I'm dreaming. I need a boat." And a boat would appear and he would jump out and the sharks wouldn't get him. Now, what that symbolized was, sharks are primal, they're ancient, and so it's like the primal fear of life, which we all have at some point or another, and especially when we're little. But he had a vehicle, and it was probably all of the ways we would talk about dreams and all the different things we would talk about. I would tell them fairy tales, so he understood a lot. In his dream life, he would wake up and he would remember that, and he would be safe. So those are some recurring dreams that we could have. Now, Jung talked about different layers of the unconscious, and one of the layers was called our personal unconscious. And that's the area where we find sort of our hangups and our anxieties and some of the fears that we have in life and the shadow qualities that we have. And so those dreams could be like some of the dreams in which you all of a sudden find that you have to take a test and you hadn't been to class for the last 6 months. You didn't even know you were taking that class. And those are sort of typical anxiety dreams. Sometimes we have dreams about how our mother treats us. And of course, that's the mother within us, the mother within us. Because our mother outside, created something within us, but we carry that with us. And so, how do we treat ourselves? Do we self nurture or do we pick on ourselves? When we're hard on ourselves, we'll have a dream about our mother picking on ourselves or our father not being there for us. And so, we have those kind of dreams. Um, and and they speak to us about how we deal with life or how we don't deal with life. This is a dream I had that was a recurring dream. So it's both that and a personal dream. And after I got divorced, I had to raise four young children on my own. And sometimes it was just so exhausting, I had to go to sleep. So I would take naps. And every time I took a nap, I would have the same dream. Now, I was in Switzerland, Zurich, Switzerland, when I trained at the Young Institute. So I learned about dreams in Switzerland. And I had four of my children there. I went with three and came back with four. And and so I would have moving out of Switzerland dreams. And in reality, the move was kind of hard. How were we going to ship back what we needed? How are we going to get all of us back? And so in these nap dreams, I would dream of moving out of Switzerland. And it was always a hassle, and I always would find more things. And I would wake up almost more exhausted than when I went to sleep. And after a while, I realized since every time I took a nap, I had a moving out of Switzerland dream, that the dream world was kicking me out in a way. It was saying, stop going into the dream world. You need to move. You need to come out into life and take care of your children. You have the information that you got from the dreams, but don't try to get more. Go and live. Listen to what the dreams told you and go out and live it. And so I did, and I stopped taking naps. So we have that kind of personal unconscious story that goes on in us. Then we might have what you might call a tribal unconscious, the country we come from. I had a young woman from Romania in my dream group, and there were very many dreams that were very specific to her culture. Or if you're South American, or if you're Turkish, whatever culture you're from has a certain way of looking at things. And so some of our dreams are what you might call tribal. And then there's the layer of the unconscious called the collective unconscious. And the collective unconscious is where the dreams of the whole world live. Okay, all the dreams of peace and love and kindness, all the things our collective consciousness doesn't value, that's where we get that. And those are where we get the big dreams from. And those might be the dreams that tell us about the goddess. Now, I had a dreamer in my class. He was very spiritual, and yet he also didn't believe. He was a Sagittarius, which is part of their issue. Is they're truth speakers, they're truth seekers, they're spiritual, but the world is hard, and they can't understand why the world is so hard. And so sometimes they get disillusioned and they don't understand things. So anyway, he had a dream in which he kept seeing a symbol, and this is the dream symbol right there. And what the dream symbol was four rivers flowing out of that golden center. And he somehow knew it was the goddess. And every time the symbol was in front of him, he felt calm and centered. And that dream was the beginning of him really getting in touch with his own feminine nature, which he did through his art, but he didn't in a more conscious way. So some of the big archetypal dreams that you might think of or have are things like tidal wave dreams, which is the uprising of the collective unconscious. And sometimes it sweeps us away, and sometimes it just hangs there, and we look at it and we understand that it's there and things need to change. Sometimes we have dreams about landscapes, about rivers and the river of life, or lakes and ponds, the magical places where magic occurs, or tornadoes, too much thinking, or fires, too much anger. And so the world of nature comes into our dreams because we all are connected to nature, even though our Western culture has tried to disconnect us. And part of our job is to get back into that conscious relationship with nature. And And sometimes we have star dreams. I had a wonderful star dream when I was seeking a vision, and I dreamt that I saw the Pleiades in the daytime sky. And the Pleiades, the seven sisters, in spiritual terms, they are the crown chakra um, of our galaxy, you could say. They also represent a new dispensation, and that was right before I had it before 2012. And so there was just a feeling that all will be well when I had that dream. So, very many ways to discuss dreams and how they change their lives. One of the ladies I work with had a dream that she was with her husband in a jewelry store, and the owner of the store came to her and gave her a really big earring. And she isn't someone who wears big earrings. And so she said, I don't want that. But the lady insisted on giving it to her. And when we worked on the dream, I said, well, what do earrings do? They are jewels, and so they're of highest value and they're on your ears. So it's about give some more value to listening. And she said, oh, maybe I need to listen to my husband more. And she went home, and the next week she came back and she said, I, everything changed. I started listening to my husband and I understand now. So, in very subtle, but in very specific and concrete ways, dreams can heal us and change our behavior. So, I have a friend who's here, my friend Delana, and I've asked her to come and talk about a dream that she had and how it changed her life. So, Alana, if you want to come over here, and we're going to move you in. Everyone, this is my friend Delana. Nope, nope, this way.
This way.
You're going the wrong way.
Hello, everyone.
Okay,
Hi,
so just to begin and to give sort of an outline, in her astrology chart, she was going through what we call a transit of Pluto to her sun. It was time for her to change. Pluto is about death and rebirth. And so we knew that something was coming up, that there was some real changes that had to come into her life. And Alana is a teacher. She has the sun in the ninth house, which is the house of the teacher. Okay, but also she's a teacher. She's a medicine woman, and she has done a lot of teaching. And she had and this dream came when she was having a little trouble with a group that she had taught for many years and worked with. So, Alana, if you'd like to tell us your dream.
Of course. Uh, this dream takes place in a university great room filled with tables and chairs and people, and I'm looking for my seat, which is in the second row, the second seat in. So the number two is an important number. Then the dream changes to me being in this hallway heading down some stairs, and there's a great window. And I look out the window, and a huge black bear comes up right up to the window and growls, and I can see his saliva dripping, and he's on his hind legs with his paws up like this, and he's just very powerful. I'm not frightened by this at all. I know I'm protected by this window, but I am very aware of his power. The next, I forgot to mention in the very beginning when I was in that hallway, there were three women students that I knew were seniors who had asked me um, what my major was. Obviously, I was an undergraduate, um, and I didn't have the answer. So then I moved on to this hallway. After that, I went out into the town walking around, and I hear these girls laughing and giggling, and they seem, very uh, like they were enjoying themselves. And I knew of this big, powerful bear that was coming out around the neighborhood, and I warned them. I said, "You need to go indoors and be protected from this energy here that's coming around." And they didn't seem to pay much attention to me, but I traveled along. I did what I could to inform them. And then I continued to some stairs that went up into a store. And the store was run by a gypsy woman or a witch. And it had all kinds of fascinating things to look at. And I was drawn to the shelf. And on the shelf were bones of birds and a beautiful little carving of a white raven with the headdress of the white wig, the type that a lawyer would use or wear in
Great
British,
Britain.
yeah, British Parliament or something like that. And I just loved this little thing. And there was a price of $2 on it, and I had just about enough money in my little purse in change to purchase this. The owner came up to me. She was, very, very elderly and witchy looking in a way. And she came up to me and she whispered to me, "You know the answer." And I wasn't quite sure I did, but then I thought about it for a minute. She said, "You've always known the answer." And then I did. I knew the answer. And that was pretty much my dream.
So let me just to condense it quickly, and
Yeah,
so then you can do some.
sure.
So, and I think that she might have forgotten, but she was asked twice, what are you going to major in?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So you look at that and you say, this is the question, isn't it? What is it? Where do I put my attention? Where am I putting my energy? Okay. And so that's the question. And then the other side of it is that you had those issues with, your people. But so let's look at the dream. The two we know is about
The
balance,
number two is about balance.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the three
And the
girls
feminine.
are
Yeah.
about the feminine, the
Hmm.
divine
Hmm.
feminine.
Hmm.
So tell us about how you interpret the bear.
Well, the bear is like in Native American belief, it's the healer. He's the dreamer. They go into the caves. They're aware of the unconscious. Um, they they are the most animal, most like human beings, so they were very much revered by the natives and were observed. They would observe what they ate and knew what the bear ate was good enough for them. There were so many different ways of interpreting the
Right.
bear, but he's extremely powerful.
And it's also about taking on your power.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. In this case, it definitely was for
Right.
sure. Um,
So tell us about your relationship with Raven.
oh well, Raven is for me. It's it began back in 1970, and I had no idea what this was about, but I had met a raven and was actually talking with a raven, which sounds really off the wall and certainly wasn't of my nature back then, but that was an experience I had. And then I had been trained by some um, Cherokee people and was given a medicine name of Oak Raven. And when they gave me that name, and I'm getting it right now, it was like goosebumps. It was so powerful for me. But Raven is about magic. Raven is an extremely, and I studied the bird when I got the name, it was like, oh, what is this? What is about the raven? They're incredibly intelligent. They are sometimes very sociable, and they're sometimes very non-sociable. They're scavengers. They have so much
And
intelligence.
they're also creators. The Native
Creators,
Americans often
absolutely,
see Raven as the creator
as the
god.
creator god, as
Yeah.
a communicator between the realms. So they would carry you information, give them information to you, and vice versa. So that, in a way, really has to do with a lot of the things that I do with the dreaming and the symbolic language that I work with,
Your
and all of
art.
that. My art, of
She's
course,
an
I'm
artist.
an artist.
So a visionary in that sense,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then I just want to comment that bones are the essence of us.
Mhm.
Okay. And if we were going to relate it to astrology, it's Saturn. He rolled Saturn reality. Okay. Concrete. So Alana was being given this concrete form of her magic.
Mm.
And she was willing to get her energy up
Mhm.
to balance with it,
Mhm.
right?
Correct.
But then also with the wig,
Well, to me, the image to me was very odd, of course, but when a person puts on a wig, he's putting on separating himself from the ordinary people, and putting himself in a place of being able to rule or judge.
Judge. Yeah.
So that kind of was putting my own judgment on letting myself make wise decisions or become wise, be of that realm. And the raven, of course, but the whiteness of it was also um, the understanding no longer being messed up with the shadow that I was working with this group, the shadow that was really upsetting me and making, getting me stuck on what was going on. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So really, this whole dream released me and gave me the wisdom to understand it was now time for me to move on to other things, to separate myself from the group, and to continue doing my work. So yes,
So
powerful.
that's a quick review of a really great dream. Thank you, Alana.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Kathy.
being on with me. So, dreams, how they can change our lives, okay? How they can take us out of our ego consciousness of should I do this, should I do that, and get us down into that soulful place that says, yes, you are allowed to make this choice. It might not seem like the logical choice, but it's the heart choice. And as the gypsy woman told her, you know the answer. And she did. And that's what dreams help us do, to know the answer to our own questions. So if you have dreams and you are a dreamer and you remember them, what better way to understand your life? So I hope that this has been um, a helpful little video for you. I hope you enjoy enjoyed some of the symbolism, because symbolic language is so important for us to learn, because when we don't understand it, we can be manipulated by the symbols because they're still powerful. So, understanding the symbolic language of your dreams gives you a deeper view into the imagination, so that when you are journeying and you see, you have an image or a being comes to you, you begin to understand who they are, and you begin to realize that symbols are metaphors. It's not like one of the biggest, easiest examples I can give you is if you dream that your car is breaking down, yes, go and find out if there's something wrong with your car, because dreams can sometimes tell you what's going on in your outer life. But it's, what does a card do? What does it symbolize? It's like the chariot in a tarot, in the tarot deck. It's about how we achieve our goals. It's how we get from place to place. And so if you dream that your car breaks down, it's telling you that your vehicle for trying to get to your goals isn't working anymore. You need to change the way you're doing things. And we can keep bumping our heads against the wall and it's not going to change us. But once you understand the stories that are in you, the way that you see the world in story form, and you understand that they're metaphors and that they take you deep into the unconscious and into the life of spirit, the more wisdom you will have in your life to make good choices. So, I'd like to offer you um, a few little discounts, if you will. Let me find my paper. Okay, some packages. If you've enjoyed this talk about dreams and you'd like to explore your dreams, I'd like to offer you 3 dream sessions, half-hour dream sessions for $75. Usually that costs $125, so you can see it's a $50 discount. I also have dream groups that meet every other Monday online. And if you'd like to join that dream group, the first month you'll get a discount and of $20 and a discount, and it will only be $20, and you will go, meet twice, and you'll see if you like working in a dream group or if you'd rather work separately. I also have an ebook on how to pay attention, the 6 keys to understanding your dreams. And that will be available either through Holistic Campus or on my website of www.kathypagano.com. That's Kathy with a C, CATHYPAGANO.com. And um, and begin to see that. I will offer those of you who are really interested one more special. And what I'll do is I'll give you a 25% discount on your initial astrology reading because sometimes we need to understand why we are the way we are, why we feel the way we feel, and astrology can really help you do that. And so, thank you for coming and sweet dreams.